Did VGK's Ivan Barbashev live up to expectations this past season? We'll talk about that and much, much more on this WTF edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hi again, everyone, from Las Vegas. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. And you can find us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app and use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Chris, was he Ivan the Great or Ivan the Terrible this past season? After VGK acquired Barbashev at the 2023 trade deadline, he helped the Golden Knights to its first ever Cup title. And this past season, Ivan Barbashev with 45 points, the most since 21-22 with St. Louis, and he played in every game for the Vegas Golden Knights this past season, and he played on the top line, and I say that he met the expectations this past season.
I'm sorry.
He's getting some flack from some of the fans out there.
So, first of all, just to simply answer the question, I think he exceeded expectations. His career high was 60 points in the 21-22 season. And then in the 22-23 season with the Blues and the Golden Knights, he combined for exactly 45 regular season points with two teams. Outside of those two seasons, it's been 26, 6, and then the 60-point season we talked about. So, and then going back to 16, 17, and 17, 18, he paced for like in the mid-20s for points. So, number one, he matched his second highest career total scoring outputs. That's good. He gave stability to the top line. That's good. There were some concerns early in the season. When you go through his game log last season, yeah, he had almost 50 points, which is basically a point in every other game, but there was long pockets without points. And to start the season, like in the first 11 games, he only had 4 points in the first 11 games. And that's when I did some interviews with Cassidy and Barbashev asking about, hey, what's going on with his game and everything. And long story longer, he got his game right because the scoring pockets became much more clustered and he started becoming a very normal, contributor. Going from January the 18th to January the 27th, that was his hottest portion of the season. 2, 4, 5, 7, 10, 11 points in that 6-game stretch, something like that. So, and the physicality, haven't even talked about that. Nice thing about Barbashev is, yes, the top line is a good spot for him, but he can play in different spots. He, oddly enough, was down to the fourth line in a couple pockets as well as in the playoffs. And I thought it was very interesting when he got moved down to the fourth line because the fourth line became a different type of force to be reckoned with when that happened and created some mismatches. So, yeah, to answer the question, Barbashev exceeded expectations, especially considering a slow start.
Yeah, for sure. And not a prolific scorer by any stretch. He did score his 100th goal in 500-plus games, career games this season. And you talked about those pockets, too. So the slow start, and then I saw where he went a span of 10 games late in the season where he didn't score a goal. And that's when VGK needed him the most. And he is, however, a good line mate. He was with Eichel and Marchessault. And I think he had 4 assists in the playoffs. And I might be wrong, but were all those assists to Marchessault? Could have been. It totally felt that way. But it was really a concern, I think, on our part, on whether or not Barbashev, with his style of play, great on the forecheck, really tough in the corners, particularly, whether his style of play would fit on a top line with Jack Eichel, and he checks all the boxes today. He's done a great job, I think, as far as that fit on that top line. And yes, if he could be more consistent in scoring points, I think that would definitely help the VGK cause. And he's going to have that 55, 60 point this season. He's going to have that total this season because they're going to have to get somebody else to step up, especially if this roster stays intact the way that it is at the current moment.
The lines are going to look a lot different next year. Whether they decide to move Stone up to the Eichel line, move Barbashev down to create some balance, who knows exactly how that's going to shake out. But yeah, Barbashev, 50 points would be a really nice target. If he gets 50 points, we'll sort out the mess after that. But 50 points, I think, would be the proper number. His playoff output, like you said, 4 points, 7 games in the 23-24 playoffs where they lost to the Stars. 22 games in the Stanley Cup winning season, 18 points. You go back to the Blues 18-19 season when the Blues won the Cup, Barbashev had 6 points. He had 6 points. He played 80 games and had 26 points that season. So you look at the growth of his game. He's still young, 28 years old, obviously the key part in the Riley Smith trade. And that certainly has helped the Golden Knights. And we'll see where Barbashev's game can ultimately go. Complimenting Eichel on that wing is certainly important, but if Barbashev maybe can get moved off that line and have some synergy with the hurdle, and you look at maybe one of the other younger players taking that spot, who knows? Barbashev, I think, was the missing link, if you will, or the key to a lot of the success of that top line in the Stanley Cup winning playoffs. You saw what Eichel and Marchessault did, and they weren't doing that to that pace, if you will, until Barbashev arrived. So Barbashev's importance to this team can't be understated. Checked all the boxes. Only kind of a weird start in the season, but whatever. I mean, that's no one's gonna. You don't expect Barbashev to be a 70-point player or a 60-point player. It'd be nice if he got to that point, but let's set the line at 50 points next season in a relatively healthy year, and that would be absolutely wonderful for someone making about the same amount of money that they could have retained Jonathan Marchessault for.
Oh boy, we were going positive there. Now you have to throw that in there. Okay, so last 3 seasons, you want to talk about Mr. Durability, or however they say that in Russian. 81 games for St. Louis, right? 82 games between St. Louis and VGK in the Stanley Cup season, and then the full complement of 82 games this past season. And that is an extraordinary edge.
Necessary.
It's an extraordinary competitive edge for VGK if they could get someone to play that many games over the course of the past 3 seasons, or at least last 2.5 here in Las Vegas. So he's going to show up every night. He's going to play his physical brand of hockey. If he can get like 50, 60 points this season, I think he again exceeds the expectations for all the intangible things. I did not say that he's a 200-foot player, because he's not. All the intangible things he could do on the ice definitely help out and support this team.
I mean, in a season where we saw a lot of Vegas Golden Knight players watch their plus minus go down, he was a plus 15. In the Stanley Cup winning season, only 23 games, small sample, he was plus 11. Looking back at his career numbers with St. Louis, plus 4, plus 5, plus 4. The season he got traded, he was a minus 10, but the Blues were a dumpster fire that season. So maybe Barbashev is a 200-foot player, or maybe you give a lot of some of those props to Eichel and March. So however you want to look at that. As far as what Barbashev does, as far as the intangibles, like you said, those board battles, that physicality, winning the races, Barbashev checks a lot of boxes. He lost his way a little bit early in the season, as Cassidy did mention when I asked him about it early last season. But that's going to happen. It's an 82-game season. Very rarely does a player do what a Connor McDavid or an Austin Matthews does, where they get 6 points every night and they just go completely, bonkers. I almost said a different word there. That wouldn't have been good.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been
good.
But
yeah, I mean, so Barbashev, like I said, he's been a great addition to the Golden Knights, checks every single box, maybe lacks a tiny bit in the consistency, but what player doesn't?
Yeah, for sure. I just don't understand. I've seen some fans dogging him as if he did not have enough of an output to help this
team. He's not flashy. He's not. You know what he is? He's the next Chandler Stevenson, is what he's going to end up being. Stevenson.
Oh, they're going to move him to center.
And then move him to center there. Yeah, another center on the team. There you go. No, I mean, he's going to be Stevenson as far as the point output goes. When you watch Stevenson's game, if you watch a lot of Golden Knights hockey, all of a sudden Stevenson's got 60 points in the season, and 55 points, and 59 and 61. And even last season in a quiet year, Stevenson still had over 50 points, I believe. It was the quietest 50-ish point season I've ever seen. And I think Barbashev is kind of along those lines. He's not flashy. He's gritty, gets the puck to the right place. He gets his body in the right place. And though, especially now with the new path of the Golden Knights, as far as somewhat of a youth movement, that this is now the 10th youngest roster in the National Hockey League, which is a big difference from where they've been. So Barbashev, now his leadership, I think, is where I'm going with this rambling here. His leadership now is going to be necessary to help an Alex Holtz and an Olofsson, and then obviously the more recent younger players in Dorofeev and Brisson.
I just thought of something here. Has Barbashev ever been in the face-off circle? Do not ever recall him.
I will put the over under, and I'll tell you, I will put the over under at 20 face-offs taken through. No, because they do end up taking face-offs. It's just the way
I don't recall Barbashev this past season. I've watched every minute of VGK hockey. I do not remember him ever taking.
All right, so I do have the game log here.
I know it's random.
Face-off 1, face-off loss 2, 3. They don't have the exact totals here, but I think I'm pretty close. I will look while you do the next ad read. I think I might have banked 20 face-offs. Like I'm plus or minus 2. I'm plus or minus 2.
In his career?
No. Last season.
He was in the face-off circle that many times.
It's going to be really close. It's going to be really close.
I do not recall him. Okay. Coming up next, a fan vote ranks all the NHL defensemen. Does VGK have one of the top blue liners in the? Oh, they do. Okay, it's on right there on the graph.
I blew it again. I can't
even tease something here.
One of these days. Give me that Podcast for Dummies book.
Fan poll ranks Theodore best VGK defenseman. Okay, that's the tease. We don't tease anyone by telling them who it is.
But there's 2 more defensemen right near him.
We'll be back with more right after this on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Make sure that you check out Gametime Fans, last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy to find and buy Major League Baseball tickets, and for every kind of event that there is, possibly if you're a Las Vegas local, you can definitely find all sorts of really good deals, last-minute deals, etc., on Gametime on the app, and, of course, wherever you tune in. It's really easy and accessible. Chris and I both utilize it. Lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection is something that they have as well, which I think is really unique and really good for folks the way today's stinking job world is. There's an all-in pricing, so you can toggle this feature, and it shows the total upfront with no surprise fees at checkout. And that's what I utilize the most, the lowest price guarantee. Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference, and the ticket coverage your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets on Gametime. You can especially get those MLB tickets wherever you might be, or if you live in Las Vegas. I know a lot of folks go to Los Angeles and to Anaheim and up the coast even. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you will get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. Thank you so much. And make sure that you subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. Chris and Chris Jr. on Sunday will have some exclusive content there from the VGK versus the Raiders softball game. So, speaking of softball, do you have a lot of softball questions lined up for the VGK players? Be nice. I don't want us to be negative anymore.
I think I'm going to leave that to Chris.
I'm going overboard to be positive today because some people think that we're negative, even though we're spot on with a lot of our predictions and what have you with this.
I'm going to leave the fun questions to Chris. I'm going to ask some mid questions as far as just trying to see how the offseason's going and maybe compare what people said in their exit interviews to how things are going now and the outlook for next season. That's kind of going to be the theme of my questions. I'll let Chris have some fun with the players and ask some goofy questions.
Well, one of the two, a former goaltender, current goaltender, will one of those two goalies wear a blocker as well as the glove? Will they have a blocker on? No.
I don't know.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, so JFresh Hockey Analytics had a fan vote ranking the top NHL defensemen. The top 5, really no surprises there, although Quinn Hughes was number 1. They have Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, Roman Josi, Adam Fox, and Miro Heiskanen. And the top VGK vote getter was none other than Shea Theodore at number 18. Chris wanted to lead with this story. I said that I have Theo fatigue. I have Theo fatigue. I don't know what else to say about the guy. Trade him or don't trade him. Just do something with him.
Theo fatigue.
Yeah, Theo fatigue. Don't want to talk as much about him. We have now Alex Pietrangelo. The best part of Alec Martinez leaving is we can't get those two confused anymore. So we've got Pietrangelo at number 20. We have Noah Hannafin at number 22. I would definitely rank Hannafin with the upside there ahead of Theodore. Personally, I would rank him higher. No other VGK blue liner on this list of 64 defensemen.
On the other side, VGK is the only team that has 3 players in the top 22. So, give and take right there. A lot of good up-and-coming talent, if you will, behind the top 3. And you're not even talking about McNabb and Whitecloud, too. So that's a good thing. VGK defense is in a good spot. This poll is under 3,000 users. You have 183,000 votes. So, I don't know, each person got to do 5 votes. I don't know the exact nature of this. Theodore comes in at number 1, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Theodore's ceiling and points output certainly is what has the fans' attention in a poll like this. Pietrangelo sucks up minutes, 22, 23 minutes a game. It's not pretty at times, but Pietrangelo, and I want to say it like this, but he's almost like a necessary evil for any team they have. You have that defenseman who, it's not, like I said, it's not pretty at times. It's going to make you want to, jam your head into a brick wall watching him play sometimes, but he gets the job done more times than he doesn't. And then Noah Hannafin, that's certainly where an important talking point is going to come out of this. And we've been doing a lot of comparison to Shea Theodore and Noah Hannafin lately. So I got a couple things queued up here right now. So my concern was Shea Theodore seemed like he fell off a little bit last season when Noah Hannafin arrived. Is that a fair statement? I think it was a fair statement. So I mentioned this on Twitter yesterday, and I got just friggin' jumped. This was absolutely awesome.
Hey, what did you say?
So my original stat was, all right, let me see here. So
stop being so negative.
I questioned Theodore's performance.
Okay.
And then someone wanted me to expand on that. So here's what I said. After his injuries, he regressed. After Hannafin's arrival, he also regressed. 3 people. Show me the stats. He didn't regress offensively. Okay, so pay attention. Theodore played 47 games last season. In games 1 through 27, without Hannafin in the lineup, 28 points, 27 games, 1.04 points per game pace. Games 28 through 47 with Noah Hannafin in the lineup, Theodore goes down to 14 points in 20 games, 0.7 points per game. Theodore in the playoffs with Noah Hannafin, 0 points. The way these numbers adjust, it's going to be 82. It's an 85-point pace down to a 57-point pace before Hannafin and after Hannafin. So again, you can't argue the stats here. You can't.
Yeah.
Where I'm ultimately going with this ramble now is Noah Hannafin is Shea Theodore's replacement, I think.
Yeah,
Noah Hannafin took the spot on the power play.
Yeah, he's got the most upside. You're right.
He does.
Absolutely.
He does.
I did want to ask you, okay, so what was the initial injury to Shea Theodore when he was out of the lineup? Do you remember?
Back, arm, hand, I don't know.
Okay, but there's more concern. Someone had told me, a reliable source had said that Theodore also had a second surgery off season, back or something like that. And so let's give him a little bit of a benefit of the doubt, and that maybe he was really injured and just continued to play there.
Oh,
Came
no
back
doubt.
and played
I'll
on the ice.
give the benefit of the doubt. And
Yeah.
he's been very reliable. Let's make sure we're absolutely clear on both sides of this. 2018-19, 79 games. 2019-20, 71 games. The COVID shortened 56 game season, plays 53 games. 21-22 plays 78 of 82 games. So give him all the credit in the world for what he did in his first 4 to 5 seasons. And then now there's been some regression as far as reliability and his point output when someone took his spot in the lineup. So what does that transpire to as far as listen, having Shea Theodore is great. It definitely helps. I mean, having 3 defensemen in this fan poll, the top 20 of the top 22 is awesome. It's important. The team is better with Shea Theodore than without Shea Theodore. But Noah Hannafin made Shea Theodore expendable.
He surely did. And I think the one player they missed on, and again, he's like the silent killer, but that's Braden McNabb and just all the intangible things I think that he brings to the table. I think he could have been a top 64.
Unsung hero.
He was
Braden
unsung
McNabb's
hero.
amazing.
Yeah, I thought so this past season. I thought he could have been on this list, but VGK fans are not voting. They're not voting right now, probably.
Between McNabb and Theodore, they're both UFAs after this year. McNabb is the one who I would love them to find a way just to let him right out in the sunset in Vegas and extend him.
No, not a chance. If he kiss of death here would be him to say, I want to finish my career in Las Vegas. Done.
He's not in the softball game, Tony.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of sad. I don't know what type of a hitter he is either. I haven't done.
That's a concern. That's a concern. Not in the softball.
Ever since Cap Friendly and VGK Unfriendly, ever since they disappeared, I can't do that kind of research about softball even. So, Caden Korzak, your breakout defenseman this upcoming season.
Oh, I love that.
Outside of Hannafin, what do you think of Korzak as far as the breakout player?
I think
it's Blue Liners.
No, I think it's great. Korzak can. Outside of what he can do when he's playing defense, he can kill. He can be on the power play. I think it was Chapman that made a joke. Not really a joke. Cassidy made it the joke, but it was when the Golden Knights had an early overtime game last season. Korzak was the 9th defenseman on the VGK depth chart coming into the season, platooning between Henderson and Vegas. All of a sudden, Korzak finds himself on the ice during an overtime in like the first 15 games of the regular season. So I think Chapman opened, hey, what does it say about the depth of the Golden Knights when Korzak is out there in overtime this early in the season? And I think Cassidy's response, I'm just crazy. He just said, I'm just crazy or something. Cassidy just leaned right into it. It was great. But no, Korzak, I think a lot of parallels to Braden McNabb, maybe a little better mobility as far as getting up and down the ice, maybe a little better scoring touch. McNabb's going to be much more responsible. Obviously, a lot more games played on the defensive side. But yeah, Korzak, I think come January, February, March, we could be talking a lot about a quiet, good season where he's played most of the games and had a very responsible season.
Coming up next, it is that time of the week. Once again, it is WTF. Stay tuned. More after this on Locked On Golden Knights. Welcome back on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen each and every day. And thank you so much, of course, especially our everydayers and the folks that chime in, good or bad, hell or high water, whatever you have. We appreciate everyone that tunes into this show, be it, of course, on the audio side, wherever you get your podcast, and also on our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. I want to start off WTF. I think, you know what? I took some serious flack this past week. Yes, my parking does suck. And a special WTF shout out to all the fans after I posted one of 2 sticky notes that were found on my car at the Palazzo. You are a jerk. Learn to park. The handwriting was really good. I don't
left. There you go.
Yeah,
right,
whatever. Forward. You can't see it. It wasn't a good photo, but I have the stickies officially in the car. I was just too lazy to go get them this morning. So WTF, shout out to my parking.
Someone put, I think it was Eric, that put the post of someone parking their car like sideways in a garage and crawling out
No,
the
it was
back?
no, it wasn't. It wasn't
That wasn't
Eric.
Rabbers?
No, no,
That
no,
was
no,
you?
no. I got to
It
go
was
there.
great.
It was
Whoever
pretty
did that,
funny.
that sounds like a Darth Tommy thing.
No, we
Maybe,
want
I
to.
don't know.
No. It wasn't. It was not. It was one of our good friends there in Toronto. John in Toronto. Is that who that
Oh,
was?
John? Okay.
John Price. John Price. Tony Dasco parking, and has me climbing up the side. That's a good parking job. That was a great parking job. At least, you know what? He fit in between one of the lines, but yeah, that's much better than what I could do. And of course, no, just being honest with all you folks out there. I want to also give shouts to Dom Leshizin of The Athletic backing me up this past week, writing this week that VGK had no
Bingo.
backup plan for losing Jonathan Marchessault. Absolutely no backup plan. And this morning, one of our VGK faithful said, this is our guy, Little Booze, No Glasses at EMICG76. Tony Dasco, we need to start the hashtag no backup plan. I agree 100. He had a plan A, it fell apart, and he got left holding the bag. WT stinking F, losing Jonathan Marchessault. I took a lot of lumps here, so I feel some vindication here. And also, I think on Monday or Tuesday, I think we should change our name to Locked On Tahoe Night Monsters.
Oh,
First
should we
time I
put an
see-
X like next to our handle like we qualified for the playoffs too? Because that's really cool. I love when people do that. That's awesome.
Oh, that's a
great.
thrill. WTF. Go ahead, man. You could jump in. I'll try to find some of our fans.
Yeah, there's plenty. All right, so just highlighting Lloyd Drive-Through Barbecue. We actually had some really good interactions with this person. But all right, another day, another dreadful show from you guys. Talk about how much you don't like the VGK offseason. Perhaps you can mix in some other subjects, highlighting players. Actually, today we kind of did that. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm done with that. So that's kind of highlighting where I'm going to start right now. It's been negative for the last, 2 weeks now, basically, since free agency started. There's been negativity on this show. It's been a negative off season. This was the best VGK roster we just watched crumble in a 7-game series against the Dallas Stars.
Best ever.
Best
Ever.
ever. Should have won the cup. Kelly McCrimmon talking right now. And they didn't. So now what happened? Okay, Amadio, Carrier, Martinez, Marchessault, I'm forgetting more. All these players have just left in free agency. Logan Thompson, who should have been the homegrown Vegas Golden Knights goaltender and the future goalie of this organization, should have got a nice long-term contract that would not have been a terrible AAV compared to his health, reliability, and performance. He requested trade because, well, the goalie coach doesn't like him. Call it what it is. Anyone want to question that? It's out there, just whatever. So the team has done a lot of questionable things right now. All these players are gone. Who's here to save the day? Alex Holtz, a 22-year-old, whoop-de-doo. Oscar Olofsson, a struggling young player looking to find his way. Our hopes and dreams are on Pavel Dorofeev and Brendan Brisson. Like, wake up, everybody. This has been negative. Oh, yeah, and the team drafted Trevor Connolly, who is now causing trouble with the future business handlings of the Vegas Golden Knights. So if you're wondering why we're negative, this is a good time to be negative. And as time goes on, there'll be a little less emotion, and maybe we'll have topics today where we talk about
negative. It's being honest and
we're
transparent.
acknowledging reality. If there's one
it's
thing
not
that
being negative. I'm the only negative one. Don't try to steal my thunder.
fair enough. But if there's one thing that this podcast will give you when things are going well or when things are not going well, we will acknowledge reality. Right now, we're acknowledging the negativity of the offseason.
And the fans are not happy. The fans are not happy. They're pretty much, if we were to do one of those polls, well, we wouldn't get enough votes probably. If we were to do a poll about whether, I think we would have the fan base split down the middle as far as confidence, consumer confidence in the VGK right now.
I mean, obviously, I think we should have a poll coming. I think, Tony, you should post that poll after this.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, just putting a bow on this one here, it's been a bad off season. All right. Tony is spot on. There was no backup plan. Or if Alex Holtz and Olofsson was the backup plan on the War Room, That's a bigger problem. If that was the backup plan, that's the bigger problem. Why haven't the Golden Knights made a move to get a scoring winger? I mean, you look at the depth, like the forwards on paper doesn't look as bad as maybe people are making it out to be. But what happens when the injuries come? Denisenko hasn't scored a goal in the AHL yet. Does great in the AHL. Okay, great. Morelli, okay, he's fine as a serviceable player. Ronbier, great fourth line grinder that can come and help. Like, there's no depth right now. So if you're wondering why we're concerned and acknowledging reality, there you go. If you want positivity, go watch a podcast. Go watch someone who is compensated by the team.
By
They'll tell you
VGK.
how wonderful everything is and how
Right,
great this is.
exactly.
And it's awesome. You're not going to get that here. If you
No.
don't like it, I'm sorry, but you know what? You're still watching.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
everydayers. We appreciate that for sure.
And we do.
I need to
We
get.
do appreciate it. Let's be clear. We do appreciate it. Like us
I
or
need
not,
to-
we
you just-
appreciate it.
You just reminded me. I need to get a handwriting analyst to see if that's the same handwriting as Kelly McCrimmon's. But does he carry around sticky notes? Does he have those little sticky notes? Does he have a pad with him?
We got enough. We have enough team employees chirping us already through burners and stuff. So it wouldn't surprise me.
There's a lot of burners out there.
There's a lot of burners. There's a lot of burners. I know.
Yeah.
I know each and every one of you who they are too.
Don't subtweet us. Just come out and say it. Who cares?
Yeah. Come on the show. Come on the show.
No, we don't like guests. We definitely.
I'll take a team employee that
WTF.
wants to have a conversation. I would gladly.
WTF? I just have to tell all of our listeners and viewers, whenever we have a guest on the show, the numbers dip. Then for some reason, we could have anyone in this entire world on this show, and the numbers go down. I think they want to hear all of the Golic takes.
I think we should challenge that. Let's find a guest this week. Let's find a guest. Who's willing to come on this show?
Oh, one of the players. Well, you're going to get some video, right, for Monday's show with softball? Okay.
Yeah.
So at eRuns had to chime in. WTF? You guys put a lot of stuff in the parking lot.
This was good. I remember this one.
But Tony can't park.
That was good.
It's pretty funny. That's pretty.
Tweet of the day. Do we still call them tweets? Are they posts? Are they X's?
I call them tweets or Zeets.
It's still Twitter, in my opinion. I still type in Twitter and it comes up. So it's Twitter.
It comes up still. Big John Price, VGK fan in Toronto. I am shocked at the negativity on this VGK team. McCrimmon has a plan. We may not like it, but there is a plan in place. VGK are going to be a working man's team this season. And yes, there will be a big trade at the deadline to push us over. WTF.
I like the second half of that. I like the working man's team. I do like that. I don't know if I agree with
that's a good one. Don't steal it.
I like the path where he's going with that. That could definitely
you borrow some of my lines. You don't steal them. You borrow them.
I borrow. I put them back.
Okay.
Gently used.
Okay, so I was behind on the strip yesterday, a driverless car. Have you seen any of those? This was
probably parked better than you.
A company called Motional. Well, I was sort of going there, except I went over 2 lanes from the driverless car because I hear a lot of them are just. So I'm in the lane on the right side as compared to the lane on the left side on the strip going south on Las Vegas Boulevard. And I just wanted to watch I looked in there. It's kind of creepy.
So when Tony's driving forward and he's doing this while he's driving. Okay, got it.
Yeah, and I took a photo too. I took a photo. Come on, dude.
He took a photo, even better.
Look,
okay,
okay. So that's the car, and there's nobody driving it. Okay, he's still probably right. Anyway, on Las Vegas Boulevard, all of a sudden, a stop, and then an illegal U-turn by the driverless car. Just a stop out of nowhere, and they have a sign on the back. It says sudden stops for this car.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the illegal U-turn on Las Vegas Boulevard. WTF. I have got nothing else. That's it. Do you have any other comments?
That's good. I'm good. I mean, I think
who are you arguing with these days? Anyone good?
It's and no one at all. I mean, the Theodore gatekeepers right now, it's interesting. And Theodore has, again, we highlighted all the great things
right now. Kelly McCrimmon is the driver of the driverless car.
I can't top that.
Yeah, let's end it on that note.
I'm sure your Photoshop skills are as good as your parking, but that'd be funny if you put McCrimmon in the driver's seat of the driverless car.
We appreciate everyone.
Been great. We have to acknowledge it. McCrimmon's been great, but this has not been a good offseason.
That's been a horrible offseason. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Of course, Chris and Chris Jr. will be out at the celebrity softball game this weekend.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
We'll see after this show.
Yeah, after this show. No, we were so positive on this show. I went overboard on the positivity today. I said some nice things.
We acknowledged reality. Barbashev was good.
We
acknowledged the fan poll, and then we talked like it's opinions, and it's fine.
Find us wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Locked on Tahoe Night Monsters. And we'll see you again on Monday. Thank you so much from my man, Chris Golick. I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Have a great weekend, everyone. We'll see you again next week right here on Locked on Golden Knights. And please stay hydrated and take care.